Now, I normally do these price videos on Sundays sometimes, but because I didn't actually do a video yesterday, I'm going to be doing it today, and then tomorrow I'll be doing a Polka update, because we can also cover the latest from Quartz after the listing on MEXC to see how things are going to be reacting, especially with these market conditions, because I am really curious. So I will be covering that action, and then of course the latest news from the Polka ecosystem. But in today's video, we're going to look at the prices for Kusama, DOT, MOVR, and RMRK. I think I'll also take a look at the KMA price, which has been pretty brutal, and it's gonna be taking a while before it recovers, and mostly because there is no product at the moment. They're still developing that. So people are basically holding a token which doesn't actually have any utility right now, and that's why we're seeing the price take a plunge, because people are getting impatient. And then of course we have the bad market conditions. But to continue on here with KSM, okay, so we've got Kusama slowly picking back up with the market here. As you can see, after we had that plunge to 154, we're now sitting at a nice 199, you could say $200, right? We actually reached a high of 203.6 here on Binance. But this is on the 1-day chart, so you can see the candles here were constantly on the upside, and it's looking bullish here. We could see, because we are definitely forming this pattern of constant bullish momentum, but we are going to encounter some resistance, and actually the first one is going to be around this area here of 235. So you are going to see some resistance there, and before that we may see some other resistance, but I don't think there's much. I think we're quite okay, because we managed to break this last one here. We don't have anything massive here. As you can see, we are around this area here from the first resistance part here. This used to be a support in the past, so you could see here around $200 around this area here. We are encountering a bit of a resistance. This used to be support in the past, when the pop to the upside started here back in 2021, right at the start of 2021, which is quite ironic. If you look at it here, it's around the end of February, and we are in February now, but 1 year later. So we are now reaching those levels once again, and the curiosity will be, are we going to see the same kind of upside movement as we saw in February of that year? But it is different. I mean, look at this chart here. This is totally different. We had that massive pop here for Kusama on a constant basis. We had a little bit of an accumulation phase. Actually, it lasted for quite a while, so you can't really see it's a little bit. It was for a good few months here, as you can see, before we started to push really high, and of course we moved into the proper bull run. But are we going to see the same thing happening here? Well, it's a possibility, or maybe we're going to encounter resistance around the $235 area, and if we do manage to break that, we'll get to the 300. But if we don't, then as you can see, this could be a bit of a problematic area here. Anything between 230 and 250 here, as you can see, we did manage to accumulate this for a number of days. So because of that, it's not going to be easy to break it with just the upside momentum here. And if we do, then that's problematic, because if we go up too much here, then we're not going to be able to break it. We're likely going to bounce back down. But it all depends on what Bitcoin does as well. So if Bitcoin's super bullish, then Kusama is easily going to break through this resistance, because we are very dependent on Bitcoin, as you know. So what could happen? Well, that's what could happen. As I was saying earlier, $235. You could say 230 to 240, just to be on the safe side here, because it is a volatile asset. It does lack liquidity, so it's hard to know exactly where we're going to encounter it, but it should be around that area, right, based on the chart here, as you can see. And if we are to move to the downside again, then we're likely going to hit this area of $170, and then we're likely going to move back up, or we could move back down once again. So it all depends, but the probability is higher that we are in a bullish mode here, and we are going to continue to grow for another few candles here on the 1-day chart before we're likely going to see any downside movement, okay, unless BTC surprises us and plunges on us, because we do have a dependency, like I said, on Bitcoin. You got to remember that all the time. And before we continue on here with the DOT chart, I'd like to give a shout out to BlockDesk Ventures, who have sponsored today's video. Thank you for watching. BlockDesk Ventures are building the blockchain industry in a different way, which means they're community-backed VC. They're giving the retail investor the opportunity to join their social media group and to be able to invest in launchpads early without worrying about the amount required being too large for them to afford. They offer a 3-tier system. Tier 1 is the BlockDesk Venture Management System, which is the top tier investment team who are going to source the new projects and provide strategic advice and assistance to onboard projects. Tier 2 is the Gunslingers team. Members of this team will be supporting the management team and the community by performing various duties to ensure project success. In return, team members receive a guaranteed allocation for each strategic investment. And tier 3 is the core community. What this means is that this tier is dedicated to the community who drive the Gunslingers team, would in turn feed that info back to the management team. What do they ask of you? Well, to simply help them with promotions through various social media channels such as tweets, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, or other ways that could help. Here are some of the projects that they've already invested in, and some of these are well known by the community, and these are their partners. You can follow them on Twitter should you wish in order to stay up to date, but their Telegram channel is where all the action is at, and all of these links can be found in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Now looking at the dot chart here, let's zoom out of this a little bit. So this looks exactly the same as Kusama here. We are getting these candles here nicely accumulating, and it's quite ironic because Kusama was down to 158 and DOT was down to 1583, so that's 10x in terms of the US dollar value, 10x lower, but Kusama should in theory be 224 right now if it was to match with DOT, right, in terms of this 10x difference in price. So yeah, surprisingly here DOT has actually been performing better from this dump, right, that we've had. And as you can see here, this was a good area of support here, which held pretty well. As you can see here, this was the one, and we managed to hold pretty well here. But of course, if Bitcoin would have dumped more, then this area would have broken below it. Wouldn't have lasted and we would have broken below it, but thankfully we did hold. So we'll have to see now. We do have some resistance around this area here, as you can see, $23, $23.90, $23.50. So anywhere between $23.50 and $24 is resistance. Okay, so we will be struggling to break past that. And then don't forget this area here. Let's move a little bit here. We don't actually have much resistance on this side, so we're quite safe by the looks of it. We are quite safe here. Yeah, we are. Yeah, it looks like $26, $26 to $27 is the next area of resistance here, which we should be okay. Okay, we should be okay. So yeah, this is the only one we've got to worry about. Once we break this, which isn't too big here, as you can see, it only lasted for about a week here. Okay, so it's not too bad. We have this area and this area, so not too bad here. We could break past this based on the way the candle movement goes here and the way I mean, we are looking in a good position here. We're not looking like we could see another pullback anytime soon, okay? At least not on the 1-day chart, okay? Maybe on the 1-hour chart possibly, but on the 1-day chart, no. So yeah, and also remember, we do have the Polkadot auctions that have resumed now. So with the Polkadot auctions, with all that DOT getting locked up, you know, it's a matter of time before we're going to see the price go to the upside, as all those DOT from the circulating supply are going to get locked up for 22 months. Okay, so that's a good sign. Next step, let's look at MOVR here. Moonriver. Okay, Moonriver is also recovering. As you can see, we had this massive plunge to $67 here. I didn't think we're going to get out of that anytime soon. Then we had a moment of upside here to $86 before plunging once again. But this time we managed to break past this area of resistance here. As you can see, we did struggle. We had this massive wick here. We came back down and then we broke right past it here, and we continue to move to the upside. So now we could encounter some resistance, and we will encounter some resistance. There's no if, it's when. Okay, it's when. This is when. Okay, so just like with DOT here, before the plunge here, this area was acting as support, and it is going to encounter resistance now when we get to around $120. So do expect Moonriver to struggle around $120. It could last there for quite some time. Okay, and if we go even further here, we do have more resistance around 145, 150 here around this area, and then the mother of all resistances is at 175. So if Moonriver gets to 175, don't expect to see miracles here. This is going to take a long time to break. It's not going to be easy, because look at this resistance that has been forming here when it used to be support. This was the accumulation area here, and this has lasted from the 10th of December all the way up to around the 26th of December. Okay, so that's what, 16 days, just over 2 weeks of resistance forming now, which is going to be hard for us to break. So that's, just know that. Okay, just know that This is your expectation. Again, even this area here is quite close to 175 to 180 here. So again, this is also going to be the resistance. So these are all pretty much this full area here is all resistance now. Okay, so it is going to be hard to break past this. So like I said, don't expect miracles with Moonriver. Don't expect it to break past $200. It's unlikely going to happen in the first go. Be happy if it gets to 175, and hopefully we can accumulate there so it could have multiple attempts at breaking that, but it is going to struggle. Okay, just know that. And yeah, should we go back down, then we can expect levels of around $85 to $80 once again, because we did manage to, if you look on the 1 hour chart again, remember this area here which we struggled to break past here, we did manage to break this, and now this has turned into support, which means it should hold quite okay around 85. Should we pull back here and should people start to sell, then the bots are going to hold us tight here around the $85 range. So that's going to be awesome. Next, let's move on to RMRK here. And RMRK are doing amazingly well. As I was saying in one of my tweets, every time the market recovers, RMRK is doing amazingly well. Let's go to the 1 hour chart here so you could see on the 1 hour chart. And again, amazingly well relative to what, you may be asking? Well, relative to the dump that we had to $12.60. So anyone that had accumulated around here, I didn't personally accumulate. I was waiting for $8 to $10 to be in the safe zone. Now I do kind of regret not getting at least some around $12.50 to $13. It was not a bad price, but I did expect that we're going to dump even lower just because that was the best area of support for RMRK. So I wanted to play this safe. And now I wanted to play it safe, but I got bitten, and you probably got bitten too if you also waited, if you had thoughts that this is going to go lower, because the market was so bad to us that we just didn't even know what's going to happen. Nobody knew what's going to happen, right? So yeah, we're doing quite okay now at 2150. As you can see, it does encounter some resistance around this area from here, from this area here, and also from this area here. So we've got two different areas of resistance here, which used to be support in the past, because we bounced right off them and we moved up. Okay, so next we are going to see some more resistance, and the question is where? Well, $25 is looking like another solid resistance area. As you can see, we went to that area here when we dumped, and then we didn't really dump because we bounced off it, so that acted as support. Now it's going to be resistance, anything between $25 to $27 here. So if RMRK goes as far as $25 to $27, it is going to struggle to break past that area just because of the solid resistance that it has formed ever since. So don't expect any moonboy moves here to about $50 or $60, because you're not going to see that anytime soon. We have to be honest here. This is realistic. This is the realistic scenario that you can expect, because resistance and support levels are crucial in trading and technical analysis and price moves. Okay, so that's how it works. Even if a whale decides to buy a massive amount, it doesn't mean that they can actually pump the price continuously. They'll create a wick. Okay, they'll create a wick. Great for those who had sell orders at large amounts, say like $30 or more, but it doesn't mean that we're going to sustain it. Okay, the whale will cause the wick, and then the price will dump back down because the bots will sell into it. Okay, and also individuals. So there's a reason why we have these support and resistance levels, which act as those, as what they're called, right? They are holding the price around that area. So yeah, this has been it from today's video. I just wanted to quickly cover this. Actually, wait a second, I almost forgot. I wanted to talk about KMA as well, because I've been meaning to do that and I haven't. Oh, and look at KMA, almost an eighth of a cent. So we're slowly recovering with KMA here as well. So even though we actually got close to a ninth of a cent here. As you can see, this has been the peak here before dumping back down. This was the high for the 24 hours. So yeah, I mean, looking at KMA here is going to be a struggle. Like, look at 1 cent. Look at 1 cent here. Look at this. Look at this area of resistance. This is going to be the mother of all resistances here. It's going to be hard to break this. Very, very hard to break this. We have to be realistic. We're not gonna see any 2 cents from KMA anytime soon. Okay, not by the looks of this chart here. So yeah, we could be waiting for quite some time, even if we're gonna see some kind of bullish momentum. Like, say, they'd have to announce too many good things for us to break this area of resistance, to be honest. They'd have to tell us we're gonna list on Binance, we're going to launch staking, we're going to launch MeriPay and MeriSwap, and then with those in mind, then maybe we could break past that 1 cent area of resistance. But until that happens, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, then expect to stay around this area here below 1 cent for quite some time. but I'm still happy to see that it has moved up with the rest of the market a little bit, right? So yeah, should we go back down, where we're gonna go? Well, again, this area of a 1/7 of a cent here, this is the area that we have formed as support now, because this used to be resistance before. As you can see, we tried to break it once, we couldn't. We tried to break it twice, we couldn't. 3 times, we couldn't, okay? And then we managed to do it here with this massive wick. So yeah, that's gonna act as a good area of support. That's been it from today's video, for real this time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.